Okay, so I got the Jakiper battery, this model, JK48V100, the older version, not the Pro model. Opened it up. I charged each cell individually to, can't remember what I had, like 33.4 volts I think to 4.5 amps. It would stop. I used the ride in here, and what I just, after I got them all charged to where they would, I hooked it up, hooked the ride up here. I have it set for right now I have it set for 56 and 5 amps into it. 56 volts, 5 amps into it, and it'll charge down to about 100 milliamps. That's where it would cut off if it was to maintain 56 volts. So I have it hooked up here. I got the cable here. I got the other cable from Jakiper. I made my own, and I had this cable and it was the wrong one from something else, and I put it on a DB9, you know, using the USB to serial port adapter. Of course I had to do that 3 or 4 times because something was wrong. But anyway, I got it working, and here I got the software up, the PBS Tools 2.5. And what you can see is I didn't have it charging too long at 56 volts, and you can see it's all balancing, and it went to a couple of the cells went cell overvolt, and then it went to cell overvolt protection here. And like they say, I never saw this before, it'll stay balancing even though it cut off the charging. It stays balancing, and you can see, hopefully, this differential's going down. Let's see if it goes down. So there's no current going into it, but it's continuing to balance. And I know Jakiper always said, oh, let it go into volt protection right here. They said let it go into that. Well, nobody ever explained at the time that it would keep balancing then, even with no current going in, because what I always saw before is when it went to it would cut off the current, and then the balancing would turn off because it would only balance when it charges. But here it is balancing. I don't know why I never saw that before, but maybe it's because I have such small current going into it. There's no load. There's no load, absolutely no load on this at all. And I just got the charger hooked up. So I'll just let it sit here a while and see what happens. I don't know how long it'll do this for, balancing. I guess if there was a load on it, that would change the whole equation. Because it has such a small balance, like 75 milliamps or so that isn't very much. But I'll just let it run, and I'll be able to watch it and see what happens. I did see this differential go down before a little bit. Should change the max should go down and the minimum should go up. There, it did go down here. I just saw it going down, and this went down a little bit. So maybe it will balance eventually. You leave it on for a few days. I don't know. I don't know when that I mean, the high cell is already lower than 3.6 is where the 3.6 is where the over cell protection, overvolt protection went on. The battery's at 54, So maybe it'll stay on until the voltage differential comes down. I don't know. I just have to come back here and check because I can't sit here for hours and find out. But I'll try to spot when the balancing goes off. Maybe as long as there's no current coming into it, it'll just keep balancing. I'm not sure. That's about 10 minutes later. I should have took note of the time, and it's still balancing. And it's come down. Differentials come down. The high one was cell 14. That's the one that shot up real fast. So I don't know. I wish I had known this a long time ago. I might have been able to balance the battery after a year. I guess the solution might have, well, we'll see if it balances this way. But the solution, I guess, would have been to charge it, see when the balancing starts, and then, well, with this thing shut off automatically once it went over cell protection. Are those still showing? It's overvolt protection. I mean, once it went to overvolt protection, it shut off the pack current. Once that pack current shut off, this shut off, charging. So basically it's just sitting here with no load, no charge, and the balancing stays on. So I guess the procedure, if you had it, charge it up, see it go in, and then disconnect the charging. If you had it in a rack like mine, if I had it in a rack like this, you know, here's where I took that one out. I guess if you had a rack like this, you'd have to plug in the software, see when it got high, and then, I don't know, I wonder if you could just flip off the breaker and then it would stay. I could try that on this one. Maybe if I just flip off, maybe I'll try it again later, but if I were to flip this off, that would shut it off, but the BMS stays on. Because this BMS has its own power wire here, see? That's why it'll stay on when the main breaker's off. So maybe that's the procedure. Let it go over volt protection, shut this off, but I'll test that later. We'll just see how long this thing stays balancing. I'm gonna go out and do some stuff, but it's 3:47. So when I come back later, we'll see where it's at or if it's done. And then I'll turn the charger on again and see if any of them shoot back up to overvolt protection again. See, it stayed on even though the overcell protection, these are all lower than 3.6 or whatever it's set for. So it's interesting. It would have been nice if this was written up better, but I can always do that. Might help others. Okay, it's still balancing. It's come down to 102 so far. I guess it might go until 3.3 volts, since that's the balancing threshold I have set on this. I'll have to show what's set up on this on it's a different software, and it shows all the parameters. But anyway, it's still doing its thing. Okay, I came in and it shut off the balancing. I'm not sure why. Here's the time. I'll turn the charger back on and see what happens. So it's set for 57 56 volts, 5 amps. And immediately these went into balancing again. I don't know why. It's charging 5 amps. Maybe there's a timer on the balancing. Now let me try it. I'll shut off this breaker, which would simulate the BMS is still on. We'll see if it will flip this off. Yeah, there you go. No, they went off. Oh, it hadn't gone into overvolt protection. Turn this back on. Turn this back on. Turn the charger back on. So the balancing won't stay on until it goes into overvolt protection. So who's the high cell? 3482 right here. The one that always is high, cell 14. So as soon as that gets to 3.6, I guess it'll go into overvolt protection. Overvolt alarm. It's coming up pretty fast. We'll just see how long that takes. Didn't take long the last time. Did so much higher than the others. Look at the differential climb. $50 millivolts, and it'll be up to 3.6. So yeah, this balancing can take forever doing it this way. There it goes. There's the alarm. Cell overvolt, just the one, but it's still charging. And this is still climbing. 3.65. Let's see where it cuts off. It goes to overvolt protection. There to shut off. I heard the charger shut off. So there you go. Now it's going to stay balancing. Look at the differential. So it'll just probably sit there and do this for another hour or so. And I don't know if it ever really balances that high cell. I guess I should maybe try to discharge this with some resistors or something and bring it way down. But the other ones, before there was two that went to overvolt protection or overvolt, cell overvolt, and only one did this time, so maybe it is getting a little better. Okay, I opened up the other software. This one's just called BMS software 2.04, and let's see, here it is. I don't know, it looks a lot like the other one, except that this one has all these at the top. The other one doesn't, but it shows the same overvolts, and it shows the balancing. So I just shut the other software down and opened this one up, so it does the same thing in that regard. I'll go to the parameter settings, and then I have to do read all here, So here's what it's set. The overvolt alarm 3.6. There's the cell overvolt protect 3.7. I'll probably lower that to 3.6. Oh, here's where it releases. I was wondering when it would stop. So 3.42. Here's some delays for alarms. Here's the pack alarms. Here's the protect 58.4. And then it releases it when it gets down to 54. So if it shut down the whole pack, it would go back on at 54. Alarm, here's the charge. Over temperature, protect, over temperature, protect, discharge, oh, charging over temperature, protect, discharging over temperature, protect. The release threshold, or balance threshold, it came at 3.4, I think, 3.5. It was lowered to 3, I think it was 3 point, I can't remember, but it was lowered to 3.3. Jakiper, I asked them about it and they did. There's the balance differential, so it has to be above 3.3 volts and above 20 millivolts to go into balance. Sleep voltage cell 3.15 delay time. Sleep voltage cell. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it turns the BMS off. Under voltage is set for 2.7 alarm, 2.5 for protecting it. And it'll release it when it gets back up to 2.95 and a delay of what, 1 second, 1000 milliseconds. Under temperature alarm, under temperature protect. DSG. That isn't coming to my mind right now. Pack full voltage, pack full charge current. So it has to get up to 56 for it to show its full charge, and 1 amp. So when it gets to 1 amp, 56 volts, and drops to 1 amp, I think. And over here we got the pack undervolt alarm, under voltage protect, under voltage release. That's pretty low. What was the other one? Pack, oh, over voltage. This is under voltage. And then the MOSFET temperature. Here's where it'll shut it off for high. Oh, I bumped something. Where'd it go? Now the camera won't focus. Come on. There we go. This is the other temperature sensor in there. So those are its settings. The other one here, the other one setting is the system configuration. I'm going to read that wherever the read button is. Read. And then I'll read this one. And this is what came in here. Charge current setting. Start current. I don't know what that relates to. Charge current setting 100 amps. Charge current setting. This one's the capacity. This I tried on the other batteries to reset the SOC, and I would just read and then write it. I'd put the password in and write it, and then it would go to 100% SOC. But then it wouldn't stick because it always goes only to 90%. I don't understand why. It used to go all the way up, but so that's about it. What else do we have up here? Language, multi-monitoring. What's that? Looks like nothing. Real-time monitoring. So it's still doing its balance thing. I guess the other one shows the differential. This software does not show the differential. The other one does. So those are all the settings in this battery. I'll just play around with it and see what happens. Where's the SOC? It shows 100% SOC now because it got up to its, I don't know, it didn't get up to 56 volt, I don't think. I'll try it again and see what happens. It's still balancing. Second time around.